When criminals are confronted by judges, most tend to be respectful. But what happens when the criminal secretly outsmarts the judge by being extremely disrespectful?
Are you some type of racist? Are you got some type of sexual relationship going on? Which one is it?
Here's the insane case of Brice Rhodes and how he has been able to evade his sentencing by outsmarting the court. On May 4th, 2016, a man named Christopher Jones was walking by the 41st Street in Chickasaw, Louisville. While walking, he would be approached by a vehicle with 4 men inside. These men would proceed to shoot and rob Jones before fleeing the scene. Jones would live for several more hours before passing away at a local hospital. 2 weeks later, a 911 dispatcher would receive a disturbing call to an abandoned home on the south side of Louisville. Officers would be sent to said home, where they would find 2 boys, Larry Ordway and Maurice Gordon, stabbed to death in the backyard. At the time, these 2 killings seemed completely separate from each other, but in the coming weeks, the shocking truth would be revealed. Once the 2 boys were identified, the police would launch a full-scale investigation into their backgrounds. Police would begin with interviews of the family, where the mother of the 2 boys would point detectives to an older male that she had once dated. This male would be identified as Brice Rhodes. Rhodes had a turbulent past. Before 2016, he had already racked up several felonies, including armed robbery, criminal confinement, domestic assault, felony intimidation, and was a registered sex offender. Rhodes would bounce in and out of jail before finally settling down in Louisville in 2014. With such an unsettling past, police would put Rhodes on top of their suspect list. However, before police could bring Rhodes in for questioning, they would identify and interview 2 other suspects. This is 14-year-old Anjon Carter and 17-year-old Ja'Cory Taylor. They were both put into police custody and spent hours being questioned. However, their stories were very different. Ja'Cory would be questioned first, where he would state that he was friends with the brothers, but denied having any involvement in their death. Anjuan would be questioned next. His story would differ drastically. We will circle back to his interview later. Eventually, Rhodes would be caught and brought into custody. Soon after, he too would be questioned.
Where they run away to? Like,
well, if we knew that, man, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I wish I could help know where they was. I don't. I need a lawyer, man. If you're gonna keep all in my face, I need a lawyer. I don't want to say, I'm tired of y'all questioning about something. I don't know where y'all getting at. What's going on. I just need a lawyer.
As soon as Rhodes realized the police suspected him of murder, he would be quick to ask for an attorney. Usually, criminals believe that asking for a lawyer would make them more suspicious. However, this is not the case. Asking for a lawyer protects criminals from revealing too much information. Since Rhodes had experience in the past with law enforcement, he already knew to avoid this trap, showing that he had extensive knowledge of how the criminal system works. But Rhodes' knowledge of the criminal system could only get him so far. The second teen interviewed, Anjuan Carter, would reveal the shocking truth of that fateful night.
He made Maurice on his knees and beg for forgiveness. And he put a toboggan over his head, and he put a rag in his mouth. And then he stabbed him. We moved Maurice to the side, and we brought his brother, and we put the toboggan over his head. He put the toboggan over his head and put the sock in his mouth. And started stabbing him too. Came in and stabbed him.
He made you all stab him? So you and Corey stabbed him too? Alright. How many times do you think you stabbed him?
I stabbed him 1 time.
Yet this is still not the full story. The killing of the 2 brothers had a much more disturbing backstory. Brice Rhodes was extremely close to the 2 brothers, so close that they would be consistently featured in Rhodes' music videos under his rap name, Rambo. Rambo would rap about his lifestyle as a 50 Deuce gang member. The music would often reference drugs, sex, violence, and killing. On May 4th, 2016, Brice Rhodes, Maurice Gordon, and Larry Ordway were driving down the 41st Street in Chickasaw, Louisville. While driving, Rhodes would spot a man that he thought had a bounty on his head by a neighboring gang. Without a second thought, Rhodes would lean out the window and unload 5 bullets into the chest of Christopher Jones. Jones did not have a bounty on his head and was simply a pedestrian walking back home. 2 weeks later, Rhodes would hear this news, and with 2 witnesses in the car, he was afraid they might snitch, so he devised a plan to eliminate them. Rhodes would invite Anjon Carter, Ja'Cory Taylor, and the 2 brothers over to party. However, this was a trap, because as soon as the brothers showed up, Rhodes would knock them unconscious and tie them up. Then John Carter and Jakery Taylor would arrive where Rhodes would force them to participate in the stabbing and killing of the two brothers. Once the brothers were dead, Rhodes would burn the bodies before putting them in his car and driving to the abandoned home where he would dispose of them. With such a gruesome murder and so much evidence against Rhodes, you would think that the trial would have a swift and cruel punishment. This is not the case. Rhodes has found a way to extend his trial sentencing for years beyond the initial date. As soon as Rhodes stepped into the courtroom, he was ready to wreak havoc. The first instance of this was against his own defense attorney, where before walking into court, he would spit on his attorney.
After Rhodes was led into the courtroom in his red jumpsuit, marking his protective custody, McLeod let him know how he felt about being spit on.
Nice cheap shot. You a coward. Nice cheap shot. You a coward.
I'll see you when I get out. McLeod says he isn't afraid of the threat.
However, this is only the first instance because the disrespect would only escalate from here. Rhodes' next target would be Judge Amber Wolf, where he would threaten her life.
Mr. Rhodes, you can just bring him up right here. I think you know why. You know exactly why. Now, listen, stop talking. You have been... Are you done? You've been charged in the 4th degree. I'm gonna keep talking because I don't want to have to see you back here for this.
What you think where you live at? What you think at? None of that. I ain't do.
So you're saying you're gonna find out where I'm out?
None of that. You got family, I'll be out.
Okay, Ms. Shoring. That was a threat against the court. I think that I'm asking the county attorney's office to take that into account and consider what to do with that.
Then, when facing a new judge, Rhodes would have yet another outburst accusing the judge of being racist and having an affair with the prosecutor.
And it's my right to speak what I need to speak on. I don't know if y'all got some type of sexual relationship going on or what y'all got going on, but I'm definitely gonna speak my mind.
Detective Tatelli, I have no sexual relationship.
Now I'm talking about you and a prosecutor over there, sir. You denied all my motions. Every motion I filed, you didn't deny it.
I'm pretty sure I denied the vast
Every motion I filed.
motions.
Are you some type of racist? Or y'all got some type of sexual relationship going on? Which one is it?
Or are you just wrong in everything that you made a motion for?
Are you a secret Ku Klux Klan member?
No, sir, I'm
Is that what you really are?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm not.
But like I said, the higher courts, they'll deal with it when time comes necessary.
It's crazy to see how disrespectful Rhodes is in the courtroom. However, it only gets worse, because in the next clip, Rhodes disrespects the family of the victims. Maurice and Larry's family had always been outspoken when it came to the trial. The grandmother even went on television to express her frustration with how Rhodes handled himself in court.
And I said, he's up at cursing at the judge.
If Rhodes is angry about what happened in court this week, he's not the only one.
My first thought was to really just to go after him from the way he's been doing things. It puts me in another state of mind. Because I can go in there, I done prayed. Lord knows I done prayed. When I go, before I even go to court, I pray to ask God to help me to maintain my composure.
But Rhodes would not see this as a sign to stop. Actually, he would see the opposite, because in his next court appearance, he would do this.
But then another part of it is, if we have a concern, what's the alternative? Because the pros and the cons. Ma'am.
Stop it. Look at me.
Ma'am.
He keeps turning.
Ma'am, I told you once before, let me please help you understand. You can't just talk out like that, okay? If you can't handle him looking at you respectfully, all I can tell you to do is don't be in my courtroom. All right? Mr. Rhodes, you're smiling. I don't know why you're smiling.
Because I can.
Well?
Because I can. It's not a crime to smile.
It's not a crime to
Continue
smile.
what you were saying.
But it doesn't help you, all right, to irritate people.
All right.
And you have a lot at stake in this case.
It's not a crime to smile, is it?
I didn't say you were committing a crime.
Okay then.
I'm saying you're not helping yourself.
Continue what you were saying.
I'm
allowed to smile.
I would suggest you do what helps you, not what hurts you.
Okay.
That's
do what I
all.
want to do.
Well,
Let's
do
get
what
that
you want to
understood.
do. That's fine.
Let's get that understood.
I'm sorry?
Let's get that understood.
Well, you made that abundantly
Continue what you
clear.
were saying about the motions.
With his extremely disrespectful behavior, Rhodes has found a loophole in the system. Since no one will represent him anymore and every time he goes into court, he has an outburst, he has been able to delay the trial 4 years and deny the family closure.